Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. This is a great article. New York Times. Quote, I've had it with this guy. GOP leaders privately blasted Orange Man after Jan 6. This is a new report, came out yesterday, and so it's pretty cool. In the days after the January 6th attack on the Capitol building, the two top Republicans in Congress, Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell, told associates they believe President Trump, aka the Orange Man, was responsible for inciting the deadly riot and vowed to drive him from politics. Yeah, how's that been going, by the way? Mitch McConnell just a couple weeks ago said, yeah, I'd vote for Trump if he was the nominee. Mr. McCarthy went so far as saying he would push Mr. Trump, aka the Orange Man, to resign immediately. Quote, I've had it with this guy, he told a group of the Republican leaders, according to an audio recording of the conversation obtained by the New York Times. All right, let's play the audio recording. Let's go.
Yeah. Liz, you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess there's a question. When we were talking about the 25th Amendment resolution,
Yeah.
and you asked if what happens if it gets there after he's gone. Is there any chance? Are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence party or anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
So, Kevin McCarthy saying that Trump should resign apparently called him on the night of January 10th to tell him to resign. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. But within weeks, both men backed off of an all-out fight with Mr. Orange Man because they feared retribution from him and his political movement. Their drive to act faded fast as it became clear it would mean difficult votes that would put them at odds with most of their colleagues. I didn't get to be leader by voting with 5 people in the conference, Mr. McConnell said. The Senate Republican leader told a friend. The confidential expressions of outrage from Mr. McCarthy and Mr. McConnell, which have not previously been reported, illustrate the immense gulf between what Republican leaders say privately about Mr. Orange Man and their public deference to a man who holds whose hold of the party has gone virtually unchallenged for half of a decade. Now, again, this is the important part. Like I said this when Mitch McConnell announced that he would endorse Donald Trump if he was the nominee. These motherfuckers have no spine. These motherfuckers are losers. You need to understand that. Right? Like, they know that they're evil. They're aware that they're evil. They're aware that what they say, they don't mean. That's why hypocrisy shaming Republicans is such a wasted idea. It's such a waste of time because they know that they're lying. They know they're saying ridiculous shit. They know that no one believes what they're saying is real, except they say it's all an act to gain power. That's all it is. They're actors. They're parts of a play. And their goal is to gain power. And they know that the Orange Man has control of the party. So obviously they know that the Orange Man's a piece of dog shit. They know he's a scumbag, rapist, pedophile loser. They're aware of that. But they also know, unfortunately, that the way the real world works is that you can gain a lot of power by sniffing up to the great almighty kings and whatever of the party, aka in this instance, the Orange Man. Right? They're losers. They're garbage. You know, they're garbage. Mr. McCarthy did not immediately respond to a request for comment after the Times published the audio clip Thursday night. No one embodies the stark accommodation to Mr. Trump more than Mr. McCarthy, a 57-year-old Californian who has long had his sights on becoming the Speaker of the House. In public, after January 6, Mr. McCarthy issued a careful rebuke of Mr. Trump, aka the Orange Man, saying that he bears responsibility for the mob that tried to stop Congress from officially certifying the president's loss. But he declined to condemn him in sterner language. In private, Mr. McCarthy went much further. On a phone call with several other top House Republicans on January 8th, Mr. McCarthy said Mr. Trump's conduct on Jan 6 had been atrocious and totally wrong. He faulted the president for inciting people to attack the Capitol, saying that Mr. Trump's remarks at a rally on the National Mall that day were not right by any shape or form. During that conversation, Mr. McCarthy inquired about the mechanism for invoking the 25th Amendment, the process whereby the vice president and members of the cabinet can remove a president from office. Now, once again, we know that this has already been documented, several members of the cabinet, Steve Mnuchin, Mike Pompeo, they were talking to each other about the 25th Amendment and eventually realized that there's no way, again, Betsy DeVos resigned. There's a couple other people from the administration as well that resigned in the days after January 6th. So there was talk of the 25th Amendment, but it wouldn't happen unless Pence is on board. It wouldn't happen unless like a couple other loyalists are on board, right? And Pence, even though Donald Trump and his supporters tried to kill him, he still would not support the 25th Amendment, even though his boss literally tried to have him executed. Like, literally almost had him executed. He's still such a goddamn cuck, and he was still sucking Trump's dick all the way to the end. And unfortunately, for the country, you know, we're here where we are, right? They did not act when they would have needed to have the maximum impact, and they're losers. Mike Pence is a loser. Donald Trump is a loser. I mean, like, look, he lost the 2020 election. The guy's an epic loser, right? They're all losers, right? Now, Mike Pence might want to talk tough in public nowadays, you know, a year and a half after January 6th. But when he had any power to actually hold anyone accountable for trying to get himself executed, he failed to do so because he's a spineless, cuck, coward, loser, fucking crybaby follower sheep. He has no original thoughts. He is not a critical thinker. He is not intelligent by any means. He is a power-driven, hungry fool, and that's it. But, you know, there you go. There's a lot more stuff coming out. You can read this whole report. If you'd like, it just goes into more details about their private comments. That is to say, Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, and other top Republicans. But the audio leak is really the most important part there. I think it's really interesting, for sure.